Hi, everyone. Welcome tonight to our professional learning on trauma-informed practice. We're so excited for people that are tuning in here with us in Toronto, Canada, and people tuning in all around the world. And we have a big American audience tonight, so thank you guys for being here. First off, I want to introduce myself. I am going to be your host for this evening. My name is Carrie Patterson, and I'm the Chief Operations Director. But put that all aside, my job is really about schools and youth and making sure that we are putting our students first. And I'm really excited for tonight's program. Please follow me on Twitter at CarrieCaz13. Thank you. I'm at 700 followers. I'm quite happy about that. So we'll see that go up tonight. But tonight I want to take a moment, and this is really important. We are so proud of what we are doing, and we teachers and the work we're doing with trauma-informed classrooms. You're going to hear a lot about that tonight and learn a lot about this program and the amazing work. But this work and this program and putting teachers first in order to empower our students, as we know they're so important to our future, right? This cannot happen without Walgreens. So please, everyone, give a round of applause to our Walgreens partner. And if Walgreens is watching, I am wearing red in honor of Walgreens tonight. So there you go. So thank you on behalf of all of our educators from around the world for helping us make this program possible. And secondly, everything we do now is virtually. We have teachers from Australia or Pakistan or India or Toronto or Alabama or Utah or New York City all tuning in with us tonight. And that could not be possible without our Microsoft partners. They actually bring together all of our virtual programming that we do out of the WeGLC. So thank you. Thank you. So I mentioned this, we have a live audience in Toronto, Canada today. So this is where we are tuning in live from, but we have an audience from around the globe. And like I said, a lot of teachers from the US. And please note that there will be some content tonight that is for American friends only, but that doesn't mean that how important trauma-informed classroom, no matter where you are as an educator, an adult, a leader of our youth, it's really, really important, the content for everybody. Again, thank you to our We Teachers and Walgreens, and let's hear a little bit about what our We Teachers program is.
What if teachers were equipped with the tools and resources to address critical social issues, like bullying? What if teachers could inspire social action from their students? What if teachers had the modules to keep that action going into the future? Because at the end of the day, it all comes back to the students. With the support of the We Teachers program, today's teachers are equipped to talk to students about the issues they're facing. Today's teachers see the potential in their students to take everyday lessons to extraordinary heights. We teachers have the resources to improve their skills, lifting their students even higher. We teachers aren't only committed to their students' growth, but committed to their own. Thanks to We Teachers and Walgreens, today's teachers are ready for anything. Better teachers, better students.
Excellent. So really it's about supporting our teachers and empowering our students. And that's what you're going to hear a little bit more about tonight. I do want to acknowledge we now have over 30,000 educators just in the US now doing our We Teachers program. This is incredible. We're building a movement. So no matter where you are in the world, we want this movement worldwide because it's so important, putting our teachers first. So what do you get as a We Teacher, or what do you get in the program? 4 key areas: a social community, educational resources all around trauma-informed practice, which you're going to hear about tonight. We Teachers Awards if you are an American, and we have this amazing We Teachers Hub, which is a community where teachers can come to get our resources and to have a community around really building our teachers up, which you'll hear a lot about because today is the day that we're launching. But hold up, I have more information on that soon. So join us on socials. Here's the different ways. We have a We Teachers community that you can hear all about what we're doing in regards to this movement and what we're doing for our teachers. So please feel we have Facebook, Twitter, Twitter, Instagram, and of course my Twitter here, CarrieCast13. So here are the components. Educational resources, We Teachers Introductory Module you're going to hear about today, the We Teachers Mental Well-Being Module, and a We Teachers Bullying Module, which we'll talk in a little bit more in just a bit. And we have an We Teachers Award. If you're in the U.S., Walgreens is giving out $500 to U.S. teachers right now, and we will be giving over 1,000 of these awards, and we have some of our award recipients here with us tonight, so thank you for joining us tonight. And here's the hub. This is so exciting for the first time ever. I have to say thank you to Fair Chance Learning who's in the room, because it would not be possible, but we have this amazing hub that any single person can go to tonight and join, and you're going to see the URL in just a little bit, but please give a round of applause because this is the day that we're officially launching, so thank you, Fair Chance Learning. Thank you. Thank you. And so that's enough from me because we have an amazing lineup tonight. We have our keynote, Dr. Art McCoy, superintendent from St. Louis, who you'll hear about, who's really going to inspire us and walk us through why this is so important. And then we have our representative from Mental Health America that have helped us write these amazing resources. And she's going to really talk about what the program is and what this means for a teacher. And lastly, of course, we have to have a practitioner. We have an educator from Alabama who actually has brought it to her district, where over 4,500 teachers have been trained on trauma-informed practice with us tonight. So we're really excited, and I am going to roll the video in just a second to introduce a really, really close friend of We, Dr. Art McCoy. He has brought We Schools and service learning across his entire district, and more importantly for tonight, he has brought the We Teachers and trauma-informed practice resources to train his teachers, and the work that he is doing in his district is incredible. We are so lucky to have him. Roll the video to learn more about Dr. Art McCoy.
Dr. Art McCoy is an inspiring, internationally recognized educator and champion of children. At the age of 19, he began his career as a mathematics teacher. And in December 2010, Dr. McCoy became the youngest and first African-American superintendent, CEO of Ferguson Florissant School District at the age of 33. Under Dr. McCoy's leadership, 3 Jennings senior classes achieved 100% graduation, career, and college placement among the enrolled seniors as featured on Fox 2 and CNN. In 2019, Jennings School District made history by performing at the Accredited with Distinction range. For the first time in the state of Missouri, a district with over 90% of their students on free meals achieved over 90% on the Missouri Annual Performance Reports and Accreditation. Dr. McCoy has inspired scores of innovative initiatives, raised more than $15 million, authored many articles, 2 books, and founded SAGES, with the mission to sever the achievement gap in the education of students and sever attainment gaps existing in society. Please help us in welcoming our friend and changemaker, Dr. Art McCoy.
It is a pleasure to be with you. You are my We family, and I think together we are certainly family. And so I indeed want to let you know that you are so special. You mean so much to countless people that you may never see, may never know, may never get to hear an affirmation from. And I'm not just talking about the students you serve, but it's really about the circle of influence that each person that you touch has in their circle of influence. You make a difference. And so with the time given to me, I want to make this profoundly clear to you. I had a student come to me unexpectedly, a 14-year-old girl, and she uttered these words to me, and I seared them on my heart and memorized them. She said, "Who can I turn to? I'm a person lost in the world. I do not know where to turn. I'm a girl wanting to achieve at anything and everything I do. I want to be treated like I exist. I want to be seen for more than the outer me, but I want to be seen for the person that's placed inside of me. But I feel like I'm all alone in the world. I feel like there's no one or nowhere to run to when I feel like it's the end of me. Sometimes life for me will never go right. As much as I try, it will just never go right. So what should I do? if the problems I face won't come up from this deep, dark place inside of me? Who can I turn to if I can't turn to the person who gave life to me? Who can I turn to? Those are real words from one of my students that forced me, compelled me to immediately give that student a hug and say, you have an educational father forever. You are never alone. I see you. Secondly, I said, you have just articulated something that millions of people across the world identify with. Wanting to be treated like the person placed inside of me. Wanting a place where no one will hurt me. There are adults today being hurt and in traumatic situations, saying and feeling the same way, not to mention students. And I want to tell you that you, as teachers and educators, are the ones that students turn to when their own mother or father and the persons who gave life to them aren't there to even turn to them. You are loco parentes, in place of parent. But the key piece is 3 S's that are essential in life. All people wish to be seen. Seen for more than the outer of me, but seen for the person placed inside of me and you. In this day, a wise person told me that we need to have less otherhood and be a land of others, and more sisterhood and brotherhood. We need people to see one another and embrace the differences and the similarities, and then go to the next stage and say, not only do I see you and acknowledge you like we acknowledge this land that we're in right now, we support you. I see you and I support you. That is the power of the We organization, and that's honestly what We Teachers is all about. A teacher hub of support, a beloved community of sisterhood and brotherhood, of people who chose to come together, to take their own personal time, and sometimes against great odds, and others saying, no, there's more important things, don't do that. And we came together and will come together to support one another. Because when we do, anything is possible. And that's the last S, that you are sufficient. You have the power. And if you individually do not have the power, then certainly we have the power. Nothing great can be accomplished alone. But anything is possible with the power of we when we work together. How do I know this? As the superintendent of schools in Ferguson, Missouri, where most of the world knows it for the death of Michael Brown Jr., we were able to come together through the power of we and bridge the mother of the slain child and her constituency, which was following the anger and the movement and burning things down, and say, we are better than this. Let's build things up. And using the We curriculum of service learning, we partnered with the St. Louis County Police Department, the very group that we were in opposition, and that group that was in opposition with, now partner together through service learning to create new vegetables and new fruits with the students and the adults, the police, and the family of the slain Michael Brown Jr. And at this very day, we have We Gardens at every school, our schools in Ferguson, our schools in Jennings, and beyond. The service learning became a vehicle, a conduit to say, let's stop with the otherhood and let's create new fertile ground of sisterhood and brotherhood. And so I must say that there is violence in our silence. So many people are walking with a heavy burden on their shoulder of not knowing where to run to when they feel like it's the end of them. Suicide is the second leading cause of death in the United States of America. Trauma and mental health matters. Mental health matters and trauma is real. So we must end the violence that's perpetuated just through silence. Part of seeing you is also hearing you. And so as a system, I'm so pleased to have worked with We Schools and the We organization and with other mental health organizations to be able to say we are centers for healing engagement. That is the official vision and action every day. That means that every school, every park, every place that we're at is going to engage in healing. How do we do this? Every school has 2 comfort rooms. One for the adult teachers who need a moment away from the stress of life, because it's hard to give if you're empty, if you're leading on empty. And so comfort spaces are present for teachers, like a sauna environment with some cappuccinos and other things, scrunchy balls, but it's also present for our students with action figures and games to have a mental moment of biofeedback, knowing how to have visualization of going to your happy place or being in a place that makes you happy. Secondly, as a trauma-informed district and the first We Schools district in the state of Missouri, every school has 2 therapists. Every school. 3 therapists are dedicated to staff alone, just to go by and say, how are you doing? How can we help you do what you do more? We see you, we support you, and together we're sufficient. Let me give it to you this way. There's a good book that's called The 5 Love Languages. I know many of you have raised it or read it, and I'm going to ask you to show hands, raise your hand if you've read it. About a few of us in here? Yeah, all right. I'll just give a summary for those who haven't read it. 5 categories are given to define how love is shown and received. The 5 categories in that book talks about time. That's the only asset you can never get back, so it's valuable. Secondly, service. Thirdly, words of affirmation. Good job. I'm proud of you. You're important to me. That's real. That's a love language. Thirdly, and I like this, and we like this one, a gift. I'm the type of person that doesn't just want a gift for my birthday. I want a gift on a day that has no significance. If you're one of those people, yeah, let's give me an amen on that one. Amen. For sure. Give me a gift on a day that's not special and you said you love me. And the last one is positive and healthy touch. A high five, a fist bump, a dap, a hug in a time of need. Can you imagine just today how many of those you've received from people who you know and you love? Can you imagine how many times you received it from a stranger? I know many of you in here received at least one of those from a stranger because I'm a stranger to many of you, but I gave you hugs and so forth. And you're like, who is this man? It's all good, just a love language, just a little pickup. There are so many adults and children who have not received one love language from a stranger in years. Not one. Imagine the effect that that has on your psyche. I've had students who've said, we are going to solve a problem through our We Schools initiative of ending hunger and give food to the hungry and give groceries and create grocery hubs where they distribute grocery bags to many homeless families, but many hungry families. But the beautiful miracle in it was the students who were giving the love language of a gift of food at no cost received smiles. Thank you. You have fed us for a week. You don't know what this does for my family. And a hug. To the point where at my alternative school, where students get sent because they don't fit in society, when they hear someone say and look at them like, thank you, you touched my family, they've come back and said to me, I've never felt this way. Adults don't look at me like that. How can I get more of that? How can that become the norm? They usually look scared when they look at me or like I did something wrong. They're looking at me like they love me. And that is the power of giving something that touches someone's heart. Centers for Healing Engagement. And the fact of the matter is, we have some people on the bad team for those children or adults that haven't had one act of love language for a year. There are people on the wrong side of society that are giving that affirmation, that time, that attention. We don't have to name them, but just to make the point clear, sex trafficking of youth is real. Drug distribution of youth, using youth, is real. Gun-carrying teenagers to protect turf and turf wars, that is real. Let's not have the wrong side and team give the affirmation of you can be like me, another enemy to society. Instead, we must be Centers for Healing Engagement that says, I see you, I support you, and you are sufficiently able to be all that you can be with amazing positivity. And so that's why I am proud to be a part of this family, the We family. That's why I am genuinely proud to be with you. And results like 100% graduation, it is laudable for 3 years in a row. But that's just the tip of the iceberg when a heart has been transformed and healed. When a life has been empowered and engaged to be the change that we need in a society like today. So I leave you with the charge to get whatever resource you can. Be so engaged in this movement and any other one that decreases otherhood and increases sisterhood and brotherhood. Thank you.
Thank you for such powerful words, Dr. Art McCoy. And I will say I firsthand know the work that Dr. Art McCoy is doing in his district, and it's incredible. And I'm so proud that we are a partner of yours and that you put service learning and the We Teachers Trauma-Informed Practice first. So thank you on behalf of us. And we're going to hear a little bit more from Dr. Art McCoy at the end in a panel Q&A. Our next guest is when we first went into We Teachers and said trauma-informed practice, how do we work with experts in this space? How do we partner with the best of the best? And so we contacted Mental Health America, and they've been a partner of ours ever since. And together we are doing some amazing, amazing resources for our teachers. So we couldn't be more proud of our partnership with Mental Health America. So our lead writer and our lead partner for Mental Health America is going to come up and tell you what is the trauma-informed practice program look like. And so you guys can actually understand how you can start using this and why you would be using this in the classroom. So let's roll a video to introduce our next guest.
Jessica Kennedy is a subject matter expert from Mental Health America. Mental Health America is the leading community-based nonprofit in the USA, dedicated to addressing the needs of those living with mental illness and promoting the overall mental health of all Americans. Their work is driven by our commitment to promote mental health as a critical part of our overall wellness, including prevention services for all, early identification and intervention for those at risk, integrated care, services, and supports for those who need it, with recovery as the main goal. Please help us in welcoming our friend and changemaker, Jessica Kennedy.
Thank you. The best part about speaking with the We Teachers program is I get to follow incredible speakers. It's also the hardest part. So I wanted to talk to you all today about the resources that we have put together. It's an incredible team. We're so honored that We Charity and We Teachers invited us to participate. And I just wanted to thank Walgreens for making this all possible again. So let's give them a big round of applause. So why did we want to get involved in trauma-informed practice and trauma-informed classrooms? Well, We're a mental health organization. We've been around for 100 years, and trauma is it's at the core of how we understand how mental health problems emerge. A lot of this started with a foundational research study called the Adverse Childhood Experiences Study, or ACEs, as we call it for short. And it kind of tracked 3 types of trauma in children. So there's abuse, neglect, and then household challenges. So household challenges include something like having a parent who's incarcerated in jail or prison, or having a parent who has a mental illness or an addiction. And what they found is that pretty much for every single one of these experiences you had, your lifelong behavioral and general health outcomes were going to be worse. And this is how we understand early childhood trauma and the impacts on behavioral health. But there's tons of other trauma out there. I was just reading today a brand report from Morning Consult that says that Gen Z's, like the world event that frames their worldview the most is mass shootings. Not 9/11, like almost all the rest of us from America, but mass shootings. 6 in 10 US youth are exposed to violence in the past year. Trauma costs almost up to 1/3 of our total healthcare expenditures. Almost every single youth involved in the juvenile justice system has experienced some form of trauma. And it's related to lifelong problems, not just in mental health, but in all health. And so that's why we decided to partner with We Teachers and put together an introductory module and then modules on 5 related subjects. So the introductory module on trauma-informed classrooms is out, as is the mental well-being and bullying module. And releasing this year, we have diversity and inclusion, poverty, and violence. So each of the modules includes several components. So there's some framing things like essential questions and objectives and learning goals. And then we give context. So we'll give you facts, statistics, definitions. I love the what to do sections. They're very action oriented. So it's like what to do if you witness bullying. What to do if you think a student might have depression or anxiety. Then we have additional resources in learning and activities. And what's really special about We Teachers is some of these activities are activities you can take to your classroom, but some of these activities are for you as teachers. So the introductory module on trauma-informed classrooms has facts and statistics on trauma, explains the impact of trauma on development, goes over some definitions, and then it has trauma-informed approaches to trauma-informed classrooms, and then a section that I love on personal self-care. So an example of a section that we have in there is what are the keys to a trauma-informed classroom. So we'll get into detail on, what does it mean to increase predictability or develop clear rules for students or to model calm responses. The mental well-being module, that's Mental Health America, it's kind of our bread and butter. So we're gonna start with understanding the issue with both common mental health challenges like grief and bereavement and conditions. And this is a very robust section with a lot of what to do. We heard a lot of great feedback at the summit. Then we talk about mental well-being in the classroom. And then of course, again, because We Teachers is about supporting teachers, we talk about the importance of your mental well-being. And then there's references and resources. And just so everybody knows, we are in a mental health crisis. Suicide rates are the highest they've been among youth since we started recording them. He talked earlier about, a 14-year-old coming to him. Half of all lifelong mental illness manifests by 14. 75% by the time someone's 24. And only half of the children with a mental health condition are going to receive any treatment. And 80% of them do not receive the services they need. So our module includes sections like how to support students who struggle, to talk about thinking with a trauma-informed lens, reducing classroom stress, finding the good and praising it, drawing on past experiences, so like you can know something about a student, but don't rely on it. Don't come in with a bias against a student. How to avoid embarrassment and exercise compassion, and then work with, not against parents. And then the bullying module, I just filmed the online learning portion of that today because that is also on the hub. So that includes understanding the issue, identifying and preventing bullying, and that includes our what to do section. learning about bullying in the classroom, and then references and resources. And so what's kind of different about the bullying module and the trauma-informed lens is we think about bullying a little bit differently too, right? So the victims have already experienced trauma at home, right? They're coming with a background. Then they experience trauma when the bullying occurs. And so do the bystanders. The bystanders experience trauma. And so does the perpetrator, who also probably is coming with a traumatic background. And so that trauma-informed lens is what is informing the bullying module that we have provided as part of the We Teachers program. So how do you use the modules? Well, you can start in your classroom. All of these are designed for a teacher to just read the resources, take it home, do the activities yourself, and implement in your classroom. Hopefully you're going to hear about what it means to take it and scale it up, not just in your school and school-wide, but district-wide here in a moment. And then there's activities in there that are just for you. So even if you never introduce the classroom activities, although we think they're cool, it will help you understand and learn more about trauma, the impacts of trauma in the classroom, and your self-care. And that's where I'd like to end today, because these are 10 evidence-based tools that Mental Health America has used, and we've incorporated them in the modules. So I just want to encourage everybody here today, connect with others, reach out to an old friend, stay positive, journal, go home and write 3 things you're grateful for, get physically active, help others, which of course you're all doing as teachers already. Get enough sleep. I know that one's always like the most challenging, but if we can get 8 to 10 hours of sleep, that's great. Create joy and satisfaction. Give hugs. Eat well. Take care of your spirit. Deal better with hard times. And then, of course, get professional help if you need it. So I challenge you in the next day and the next week, pick any one of these 10 tools and take time to take care of yourself, because we really need you. So thanks again for letting us be a part of We Teachers.
So amazing, amazing resources that we've created for you, and we really hope that you take the time to review them, because they're very well laid out, and we really know that the teachers that are using them are really enjoying them, liking them, and have already seen a difference in their classroom and their students. So our next guest, I couldn't be more proud to bring a teacher from Alabama. So this teacher did receive one of our Walgreens awards for $500 and has an incredible story. But what I am most proud of Arlinda, who you'll see a video to introduce her in just a second, is she is one teacher of a district of 4,500 teachers, and she did our program, she read the module, and she was delighted and was like, wow, this is exactly what our district needs. Our district needs trauma-informed practice training and professional learning. And then one teacher, 4,500 teachers in this district in Alabama, she managed to take it all the way up to the superintendent, and the entire district is now being trained on trauma-informed practice in Alabama. It's just incredible work we do. And we know that this work is only as good as our teachers. Our teachers are with our students every single day. And it's a big job we have, which we know why self-care, but Arlinda is just amazing, who's implementing this program. And so please watch the video to introduce an inspiring and amazing teacher that we have with us tonight.
Arlinda Davis is a teacher at Avondale Elementary School in Birmingham, Alabama, an inner-city school made up of students from all walks of life. Arlinda is a mentor, teacher, and the current Teacher of the Year. She is passionate about empowering students to excel in their studies by showing them that their teachers and peers are there for them and care about them as human beings. She loves watching her students grow into amazing young adults and hopes that when they leave her class, the lasting lesson they learn is how to be a good human. Please help us in welcoming our friend and changemaker, Arlinda Davis.
Good afternoon to everyone here in Toronto. My name is Arlinda Davis. I'm from Birmingham, Alabama, from Avondale Elementary in the Birmingham School City District. I am so thrilled to be here as one of the teachers for the We Teachers Recipient Outstanding Teacher Award. One thing that's so near and dear that my district, led by Dr. Lisa Herring, our superintendent, our Department of Student Support Services, and our Department for Social-Emotional Learning with Courtney Nelson as our leader, they have really embraced the fact that we need to look at and see what we can do for our students who are coming to us with trauma. And as I always say, trauma has no zip code. It has no social or economical background. Trauma comes to people of all walks of life. My district is very well-rounded. It's made up of people from all walks of life. But as we found out, all these children are coming to us, and when we see them acting out, teachers are saying, what's going on? I want to know the why. I want to know the how. Why are these children now having problems? What is coming with them? And so we, as a district, had a PD day that I was so very, very happy to have an experience where we had our teachers, our custodial workers, our lunchroom workers, bus drivers, everyone from all over our district stopped, took a day where they unpacked and they learned how do we deal with children who are dealing with trauma and coming to us with a backpack full. One thing I always say is children sometimes come to us and we may say, did you get up on the wrong side of the bed today? And then when you look at this from the module and you look at it from a trauma-informed practice, you may find out that child didn't have a bed to sleep in that night. And so they didn't really get up on the wrong side of the bed. They're tired or they're hungry. You even have some situations where mama or daddy were arguing that night, or they argued constantly, or that child was left at home the night by themselves and they had to listen to the next door neighbors arguing, or gunshots that kept them up. You also have the situation of that child coming to school where they're looking for safety and there's someone there who's bullying them. And so when you start seeing this, the We Teacher practice has really, really touched me and allowed me to be able to see what does a trauma-informed classroom look like. And so I wanted to kind of give you all the visual that I had. I've been teaching 25 years, first grade, Avondale Elementary, all 25 years. And so when I looked at it, I thought about how these children come to us, and they are just children. But some of the weight and some of the baggage that they're carrying is much bigger than they are. They're dealing with adult situations. So one thing that the module and that the We Informed Classroom for Trauma attacks is, how do we unpack this backpack? How do we release them and help them take off what they're suffering from, whether it's bullying, homelessness, hunger, fatigue. And so I really, really started thinking, what can I do with what they gave me, with the grant that I received? And one thing that I really truly believe is that children should have a safe place. Somewhere if they're tired or they need a space, they can go in the classroom and they can lie down or they can become comfortable. That's one of the things that's so important, is we want to start saying that we can turn tragedy into triumph, and that we can also attack the emotional problems so that these children may be successful. Our school, Avondale, has a PBIS committee, and we do that every day. We meet, we talk, and we discuss how can we make these children become successful adults. My philosophy is that every child is born with a special orientation, and that we can make these children become successful adults so that they can inherit society. Thank you, We Teachers, for giving me this platform and allowing me to have a voice for teachers. You are my superheroes.
So thank you to both Dr. Art McCoy, Jessica Kennedy from Mental Health America, and Arlinda from our Alabama School District. The good news is we get to see them all again. We are going into question time, so if you're in the audience here in Toronto, please think of some questions. If you're tuning in online, we do have someone moderating both Facebook viewers as well as our InExpo platform, so please send your questions that way and we'll ensure that we're going to be able to answer them. So, ready? I want a little bit of a drum roll for this, so everyone can drum roll. Okay, that's great. We introducing our We Teachers Hub, and what essentially that is, we've been doing We Schools for over 20 years, if you can believe it or not, and this is the first time we actually have a space for our teachers to come to and receive our materials, receive courses and badges and certificates, and it is just this incredible program, and no matter where you are in the world, Canada, US, Australia, New Zealand, India, Europe, anybody can join, and here is how you join. You see the URL right here. You're going to see it through, so anybody can join. We really hope that tonight you take that first step because you'll find all the resources that Jessica talked about, but even more so, you'll have an LMS where we are giving We Teachers badges that you can put on LinkedIn and on your Facebook, and some amazing learning pathways. So a little bit about it. Here's what your home screen would look like. So you'll come in and you'll see just lots of different ways you can connect, and it's growing. So we're doing a lot more every day still with the hub, but it's such a great space, and anything you want around service learning, We Teachers Trauma Informed will be found here. And so I was talking about this, courses and badges. How cool is that if your signature has Trauma Informed Classroom Certified, a little badge there that it's going to be great. We already have 4,500 Alabama teachers that can get that tomorrow. So it's really, really exciting that that's what you can do. Educational resources, all the modules Jessica talked about are on there right now, and we're going to continue to add more and more. So it's really, really exciting. We have all of our virtual learning. So tonight's show will be on demand after, so you can actually take what we did tonight and show your colleagues and friends and partners to ensure everyone can get trained and learn about the We Teachers program. But anything we do virtually will be found on our We Schools Hub, We Teachers Hub. And lastly, your dashboard. So this is really cool. This is going to be your personalized dashboard. You'll be able to see everything that you do while you're on the hub, and you'll be able to share it out. So as we build this community, I mentioned we have 30,000 educators across the US and thousands of educators worldwide that will be on this, and you can actually have a dashboard and share with each other the activity and taking time for yourself to really be a better teacher and really put your students first, and that's what we're all about. So we're really excited about Hub. I mentioned it. Here's how you register. Please go on and register. We're really excited to see you on the Hub as of tomorrow or right now. So thank you. Yes, thank you. Again, a thank you to We Teachers and Walgreens, because this, like I said, this has been a dream of mine since I started here at We. In over 20 years, we have not had this. And so this is the first time, and it's thanks to Walgreens that we're really able to build a community of teachers who care and make doing good doable and really put your students first. And all of our trauma-informed classrooms are there. And now we're getting ready for the panel. And so as we go into the panel, here's another great We Teachers video featuring our very own Dr. Art McCoy.
This is Jennings, Missouri. The streets out here are tough. But when I drive through these neighborhoods, I see hope.
Scholars, how y'all doing? You doing all right? You staying safe?
Here in Jennings, some of our students have no parents, no food, or have been victims of violence. But this isn't a quick fix community. This is about long-term commitment to loving our kids.
Great to see you today. Make it a great day. Good to see you guys.
This is home. There's no place that I would rather be because of the joy that I get to serve our children in this community. With 8 schools and thousands of students, I work hard to provide our teachers with the tools they need to engage our students.
It's good to see you all.
Hi guys, how you doing? I have some kids who walk over 2 to 3 miles to school. I've had students who have lost parents, lost friends. I have had students who are being a parent and a student. And mind you, I just teach middle school.
There is a need to have resources to support educators having hard conversations.
Hey, everybody. Let's huddle together. Thank you all for your work. Great to see you.
We Teachers is a response to that need.
The We Teacher program is giving us the tools to have meaningful conversations about the issues affecting our students.
We are so excited to be the first school district chosen to be a part of the We Teachers pilot being launched by Walgreens and We.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to talk about a tough topic. We're going to talk about bullying. Have you ever seen anyone being bullied?
One time I seen someone being treated unfairly was when me and a few other boys were outside playing football in the after-school program.
One time in January, there was a kid who was on the side for like 3 games, and then I picked him up and put him on my team.
The We Teachers program has helped me create dialogue, and it allows our teachers to help our students in so many different ways.
Mrs. Wade, we see you and we support you.
Thank
and
you.
You're doing amazing work. And to my scholars, you are making a difference, and we are changing the nation.
Teachers wear so many hats. They are not only educators, they are counselors, they are life coaches, they are social workers, they are friends to students. They are more than a teacher.
Okay, excellent. So thank you again, Jessica, Dr. Art McCoy, and Arlinda for being here. We're so thrilled that we do get a chance after hearing you guys speak to ask some questions. I see the person moderating our online right now says there's lots of questions coming in, so I don't want to hog too much of my own questions, but I will ask a couple questions just to get us started while they gather the questions. If you're here in the audience and you have questions, start thinking about them as well. So Arlinda, this is for you, our champion teacher here with us tonight. How have you positively changed the trajectory of a student's life in your classroom?
Well, I feel that I've changed the trajectory of one of my students, or many of my students. Just first of all, they've changed my trajectory just because they are who they are. They come with what they do, and it's loving. But I would say one of the ways is by providing resources for them that they may need, whether it be a refrigerator with snacks in it, or a way of having them to be able to lie down, or if they need a hug or something like that. Basically, the students that you get sometimes, they just need someone to talk to and feel safe.
Thank you. Incredible answer. Jessica, so you did such a good job at talking about the resources, and you did such a good job on the resources, and we're really excited about them. But just to elaborate a little bit more, because all teachers say, I never have enough time. And granted, you don't. It's a lot to do in a day. Help us understand what are the best practices for using the teachers' modules in the classroom.
Wow, what a great question. Thank you. Well, I mean, I think our superstar here did it the absolute right way, which is to look at the module, evaluate it herself, start to use it herself, and then bring it up into the school and the district. It's great to have somebody like Dr. Art here who can bring that top down, but then that becomes so reliant on him and, in his star power. Whereas when you have something that comes kind of in that grassroots from the ground up, I mean, she's still got incredible star power, but it's longer lasting and more impactful.
Which actually is a great segue to my Dr. Art question. As a district superintendent, what strategies and suggestions can you provide to administrators and district leads to implement, scale, and sustain a work such as the We Teachers program?
Teachers are some of the most selfless people. They are so humble. And even our star teacher here said, first, her students changed her trajectory, and then she answered. And that's what I look for when I'm looking for people that are really great teachers, that element. And so administrators need to learn from that, because it's really about the student. And the issue is, if you cannot meet the need at the speed of the need, then you should look for any tool that helps you to do so. So I would suggest you show the data to your own administrators to say, this is a need that's not being met, and here's a resource that really is at no cost and brings great partners like Walgreens to meet the need at the speed of the need. There's not an administrator worth their grain and salt that would say no to that.
Thank you. Great answer. Can I get a question from here in Toronto? Excellent. Otherwise, I'm going to go to our virtual questions. So this one's for you, Art. How do you build understanding of trauma with consistency with staff? How do you do that within the classroom and or within the district?
It's a great question. So first it starts with giving and defining what is trauma. There needs to be a uniform definition that goes across your entire system so that you can see it, that 3S's see it, and then begin to say, support individuals with the experiences that you've defined. So you need to take the time to have everyone sit down and define what is trauma, what does it look like, how does it feel even, because you can do simulations of 1 hour in poverty or as a homeless person. Try giving out a deck of cards. We've done this in the professional development where each number on the card represents a different class. So, 2 or 3 is someone in the lower class of let's say, hearts. And then a jack or an ace is the highest status possible. And then have the group experience what it's like to experience feeling as if you're a second-class citizen. Those are ways that staff can develop empathy, but the bottom line is take the time to define it, take the time to kind of feel it, and then take the time to support, put wraparound supports inside the class and outside of the classroom.
And what's so great about that is the resources actually give you a definition, a common definition on trauma and the forms of trauma. So it helps you right away to develop that across your district. Do you have anything to add about that in the modules?
Totally what I was going to say.
You.
Download the trauma-informed classroom introductory module for some common language.
Yes, excellent. Yeah. We're on the same page. So Jess, this is for you. Thinking of K-12 students, when students have adult issues they are dealing with, but the inability to communicate verbally, what is the best practice for a trauma-informed professional?
Ooh, that is a tough question. What is the best practice? There are a lot of approaches to do that, and I think one of the ones that you were talking about earlier is just setting up a comforting and a safe space for somebody. I mean, a lot of kids who are coming to school that have a lot of trauma in their backgrounds, home is not safe for them. And for those of us who grew up in safe homes, that's almost impossible to really think about what that means. And so to have a safe and comforting space and to model that calm behavior and to check in on the students as well. And there's some what-to-dos in our mental well-being module that really focus on, some of the nonverbal behaviors, like anxiety can look like a lot of stomach aches, for example, and so what to do. So I'm just gonna put another plug to download the mental well-being module after you look at the introductory module.
Excellent, thank you. Oh, I love this question, and this is such an inspiring question. It's going to go to Art and Arlinda. I'm going to start with Arlinda. At what point in your life did you have a calling for education?
Oh, wow, that's a great question. I told the story today of how my 5th grade teacher, Mr. Bandy, recognized that the year before I was going to school with stomach aches from anxiety. The teachers at that time deemed me not being one of the higher students, and he came to me to say, you're a genius. And that was the turning moment of my whole educational career. And as I thought back on that, when I got to high school, I started thinking more that yes, I want to provide that same love and that same inspiration to my students.
That's outstanding. It's a tough one, but also easy. It was around age 14. In America, in the United States, there were some serious turbulent times around that time frame. I recall Rodney King had gotten beaten in L.A., and there were some riots of the police officers, and that kind of attitude, it spread as far as this otherness notion of cops versus marginalized groups and feeling like you were oppressed. And so we had walkouts and riots my sophomore year in high school, and I recall being in an assembly and standing up and actually uttering the same words that Rodney King did on TV, which is, can't we all just get along? And it was when the students listened, sat down and stopped yelling and arguing after me yelling that I understood I had a voice. That's when I learned it. And then the principal said, go talk to Channel 2 and and take your friend out with you and say what you just said. Well, my friend was Ed Bolton, who's a white male, and we're best friends, and we went out and said, hey, we're a black and white guy, and we care about one another. We can get along. And that was the beginning of when I knew that the calling was to fight a war against ignorance. And that's what we do as educators. We war against ignorance, and we war against apathy. Someone may say, what is ignorance and apathy? Well, I don't know, and I don't care.
Thank you. So now we have Katie tuning in from online. Katie, thank you for joining us. Any one of you guys can answer this question. When you create safe spaces in schools or classrooms, how can you ensure these spaces aren't taken advantage of by the students?
I'll take that question. Most of the time when you have a management system within your classroom and you built a relationship with your children, which is the most important thing, when you have a relationship with your children, you know them. And you know when they have a need, and you know when they just want to do something. And so I can recognize when my children come in, something's different. And when I feel like they need a time to go, or they'll come and ask me, Miss Davis, can I go for a little while into the area of the pillows and the puppets, and they have that time to do that. And then I know that they are so dedicated to me that they're not going to take advantage. So I just say build a relationship.
That's great.
And just to add to that, I mean, people are going to take advantage of things. I mean, there's people who, there are people who fake mental health problems. There are way more people who have mental health problems that aren't getting the help they need. And so I think it's also important to focus not on who is going to take advantage of it that doesn't need it, but just how much it opens up a comforting space for the people who do need it. Mm-hmm. And that is a much larger number.
And I want to quickly give a system answer. So if this is a teacher, it helps to guide your administrators to do this. And if you're an administrator, then look at it as a system. So comfort spaces in the classroom is amazing, and it's great because it's relationship-based, and the teacher's still the supervisor and monitoring, and they're able to then have feedback to check and say, okay, how do you feel now? Check it on a smiley face grid or frowny face, and then continue to work with them. If it's a comfort space in a school that is, again, unmonitored by the teacher, have a system, a check-in system where you know who goes in, know why they go in, and so forth. Also, having school-based clinics where you have a therapist on spot with the comfort space. You're able to do assessments when kids come in, just a real quick 10-second diagnosis or at least assessment to say, is this a homicidal, suicidal situation? So have good proximity by your therapist or your school nurse. So basically put systems in place to monitor.
All three excellent questions. We have an in-studio audience. It's going to be our last question of the evening, and then we're going to do a quick inspiring wrap-up. But I can't not let Reg from Manitoba, who flew in here for tonight's event, ask a question. So thank you for being here.
Reg Clausen, Chief Superintendent, Frontier School Division in Manitoba, Canada. I work in a school division where many of my teachers have encountered their own trauma as they've gone through life. And so many of the events that trigger trauma in their students' lives also trigger trauma in their own lives. And so I would be open to the panel, anyone on the panel, kind of talking about what are some of the strategies that you've used in order to help teachers where they encounter unsuspecting, well, they don't suspect the triggers that will set off their own trauma and be unable to deal with students effectively in that moment. So
I want to first acknowledge Reg, because he was the wise man in this room that was really making a point about a need for not having as many others, but being sisters and brothers. And so I thank you for your leadership and your friendship, my brother. We are in this war against ignorance together. My response to that as a superintendent is this: you have to have tiered interventions at a system level. And so what we've done this year, thanks to my HR officer, Stephanie Alexander, we've added therapists for the staff. And so there's a tiered intervention where we have also a fitness person for the staff that's free at no cost. And so when you have a staff comfort room, you self-regulate, self-care, you go to that. the therapist roams and talks and kind of tracks who's in there more often who's not, to kind of go help them say, you may need to see me because you've been in here 4 or 5 times. The second level is going to see the therapist and having the administration say, you may want to talk to them. And it's totally non-evaluative, it's totally confidential. Now this is before like using a health service like Concentra or some other health plan that HR provides, or even hospitalization. So it's all internal, confidential. So the last thing is, we try to make experiences for our teachers that, in addition to the conference space, like after-school happy hours and get-togethers for a social support group that are peer-to-peer. It's a business model, to be honest. We took it from corporate America, which does a lot of bell and whistles to keep their employees happy, satisfied, so forth. Educators deserve it and need it, so we've sponsored bi-weekly and monthly social gatherings, often at a country club, a place that's off-site, that really gets you kind of, out there in a way, but able to be free to say what you need to say and be with who you need to be to become your own support group. So again, you have to see it, you want to support, and you want to build individuals up to be sufficient enough to self-regulate. But those are our 3 tiers that we did.
Great, thank you. So that is time, and so before we end, first off, I need to thank our panelists. So thank you very much for being here. Let's give them a round of applause. And thank you to Walgreens for making this program possible. We're just at the beginning of it. It is incredible, the work that we're going to do. And I also have to say thank you to Fair Chance Learning, who we've partnered with to create a very a very amazing interactive hub that is available to all of you guys immediately. So we do hope you register. Tonight, I think I cried, I think I laughed. It was a tough topic to talk about, right? But what's so important is, let's not make it a tough topic, let's do something about it. And you as the educators are the ones that can. And please know that you're supported, and we teachers is here to support you. And these wonderful people are all part of the We movement, We schools, and We teachers. And we really hope that you join us, because we're here to really, it's all about our student, giving student voice and taking care of our students, because they are our future, and it's so important and incredible. So whether you're tuning in, thank you, and thank you for making a difference in our students' lives.